Joining us live tonight to talk a little bit more about this is Tamar Arminak, a conservatorship attorney. Thank you so much for being with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
I'll be honest, hard to know where to begin with this one. So let me just ask a painfully broad question. As someone who specializes in this this aspect of the law, what's your headline? What are you getting from all of this?
Well, this is very, very interesting. We've never seen in conservatorship court this much public attention, scrutiny on a case. And what I'm getting from it is what Britney wanted to happen 3 weeks ago when she gave that impassioned testimony is happening. It's happening right now. These changes we're seeing are as a result of her testimony and her bravery.
Is it a big deal that now she's gotten the lawyer of her choice, a former federal prosecutor by the name of Matthew Rosengard? Is his now coming on the case? What practical difference do you think that means?
It is a huge deal. It is a huge deal. It's going to change the entire landscape of the case. He's going to fight aggressively. He doesn't have any friends in the case he needs to worry about. He doesn't know any parties personally. He hasn't been on for 13 years. He's not going to rubber stamp anything. He's there to be her advocate and her advocate only.
And a central figure in all this, obviously, is Britney's dad. And so the way it stands now is that he is still in charge of the finances. There's another person that's in charge of kind of the personal aspects of her life. But for many years, the dad was in charge of everything for 11 years. What do you make of his role and the fact that financial control of her sizable estate is still in his hands?
It is still in his hands, although I don't know if it's going to be solely in his hands for very long. We heard today from Britney's new attorney who asked him in open court, why won't he just resign? Why won't he just go away, essentially? This is the kind of aggressive lawyering that we're going to see. And I can't imagine that her father is going to continue to be on the case for very long. It's clear that being on the case is doing her more harm than good.
And listen, for folks who may not necessarily be a Britney Spears fan and maybe don't understand some of the news coverage of all of this in recent weeks, I think the broader picture about this is that most people don't understand how a conservatorship works. And so Britney has said that literally under this deal, everything was controlled. She wasn't allowed to marry, forced to maintain a certain form of birth control, forced to take certain meds. In layman's terms, just briefly, what is allowed and not allowed under a conservatorship? How much of your life can be under someone else's control? These are very personal things.
Well, with the type of conservatorship that Britney is under, all of these things are fair game for the conservator to decide and control. The only thing that a conservator in this situation cannot do is force Britney into some sort of mental institution, hospital, or force her to take drugs or medications against her will. But there's a lot of coercion involved. There's a lot of taking away of things involved that could pressure her to do what the conservator wants. This is common in conservatorships, as scary as it sounds.
Wow, it really is. And real quick, just a few seconds left. The woman who is now in charge of Britney's personal life says the goal now is to end the conservatorship. Do you think that will happen, and under what time frame, roughly?
Well, I don't think it's going to happen as quickly as Britney wants, but I do think it is going to happen. And her biggest advocate right now is Jody Montgomery, the conservator of her person. With Jody coming out and saying that that's the goal, and her new attorney aggressively pursuing that, I believe in the next several months that's going to happen.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much for being with us tonight, for your insight. It's such a fascinating topic and a sad story in a lot of ways, too. Thank you so much.